Welcome, everyone, to the shadows of St. Louis, Madison, Illinois. Plays host to the 5th round of the Crown Athletics IndyCar Series. Following a week off for Memorial Day weekend, we come back to racing here on an oval. Last time we were out 2 weeks ago, we were at Texas Motor Speedway, the Lone Star State, where Rick Ravon grabbed his 3rd consecutive win. After missing the opening round, the Brickyard Grand Prix in April, he has been on a hot streak. He is the man to beat here tonight. Qualifying currently underway, but we're glad you're with us here for the start of what should be a wonderful night of racing. Welcome to St. Louis. Welcome to Gateway Motorsports Park, Worldwide Technology Raceway, as it's known more commonly, as we get ready for qualifying, which is currently underway at the moment. Vincent Santos currently on the run. Some reason saying Edson Santos is not on our list. Very interesting. Santos should be on our list as car number 20. He goes front row there. Marlo Duncan running right now at the moment. See what the number 12 runs. Duncan's time good enough for 11th fastest at the moment. I'm trying to track down why it's not saying that we have Edson Santos on our list. Very, very bizarre. Edson Santos should be on our list. Is that second place car? He's raced before. Very unusual there. Do a refresh here before the race starts. On track right now is Mirabella Viscali, the Indiana native, sitting in the championship position at the moment. Let's see what she's got. First lap on the board. 25.802, only good enough for 18th fastest. The second lap has been better across the board, as Viscali pulls around turns 3 and 4. Trying to get closer to the front of the field is Viscali, and that is a way faster time, 25.069, but it's only good enough for 10th. David Cook Jr. also on the racetrack at the moment. First lap for David Cook Jr. at the moment. First lap on the board, 25.3 for David Cook Jr. Looking for a pretty outstanding lap 2 if he can get it. His first lap gets him 16th. The second lap's going to be pretty critical. Where does he go? In the 71, David Cook Jr., 24.9. And that's good enough for second. Front row for David Cook Jr. And now the French-born driver, Alyssa Pelletier-Sharp, begins her qualifying run. First lap underway for Sharp. Number 17 Gearcats machine rolling around the racetrack right now. Let's see what lap 1 looks like for Alyssa Pelletier-Sharp. First lap in the books. 20th fastest, 25.747. Has to be an electric lap 2 to move into the top 10. 25.0 is what gets you into the top 10. Sharp completes lap 2. Qualifying run in the book, and it's in 25.225. Sharp can only manage to gain 5 positions from 20th to 16th. So 5 cars have yet to qualify, with Lily Frazier, Casey Ellis, Tim Dells, David Cook Sr., and Keel Aldridge all yet to qualify. We're going to try to reload our overlay, see if it corrects Edson Santos' position on our screens, seeing as how he is a veteran of multiple different series broadcasted here on ABN. And that gives us time to also get into the starting grid. Before we do that, though, a huge shout out to some of our Premier Tier Patreon subscribers. For those watching simulcasted live tonight over YouTube and Patreon or Patreon Premier Tier subs, have done a phenomenal job carrying us through the start of 2026. Trade Up Slogan, Dogman2935, Eli Sasick, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Tyler Head, B-Dogs, Colin McDonough, Blue, KJ Gibney, James Wright, J-Paw, and Jake Potak. Thank you all for your support here on ABN. If you want your name shouted out on all of our broadcasts, the QR code at the bottom of your screen can help you get just that as we get ready to get underway. It's also in the description down below if you're watching on YouTube. So come on in and join the party. Got a lot of stuff planned beginning in June. Daily content for the month of June coming up in just a few days. Let's go ahead and go through the starting grid here in Gateway. Rick Ravon and David Cook Jr. front of the field. 3 wins in a row. Can he go 4 in a row? We'll find out for Rick Ravon in that 7 car here tonight. He's in one of the best seats in the house to do so. Edson Santos still not showing up on our overlay, which is unusual. He's alongside Blue Jade, though, in row number 2, so bear with us on that front. Blue Jade qualifying well in row 2. Josh Gaiman, Nate Fields. You see Gaiman already moving there. That car now out of line. Nate Fields alongside in row 3. Row 4, Bobby Blowers and William Rucker. They make up your top 8. Your top 10 is capped off by the reigning ABN World Champion Nick Cressy, alongside one of the most tenured drivers in the kart IndyCar series, Lance Anthony, who starts 10th. Mirabella Viscali has some work to do from 11th on the grid. She starts alongside DJ Trout here tonight. Marlo Duncan and Brian Edwards starts in row number 7. 13th to 14th on the grid for them. Matthew Rivera and Lily Sharp in row 8. Row 9, Brandon Staton and Jim Hubble making his debut in row 9. Josh Osborne and Matthias Marcomini make up your top 20. Tim Dells, Lily Frazier in row 11. Row 12, Casey Ellis and Keel Aldridge. And then you have David Cook Sr. rounding out this field of 25 here in Gateway. It's almost time to go racing here in the shadows of the Gateway Arch that gives this track its namesake. Rick Ravon, David Cook Jr. front of the field. Edson Santos in 3rd. Blue Jade in 4th. The pace car is in, and the green flag flies. The St. Louis 300 is underway. Trouble already. Opening lap. David Cook Jr. in trouble. Huge crash. Huge crash. That is Marcomini up in the air and up and over on the roll bar. Trouble from the front on the very first lap. It is absolute bedlam out of turn 2 on the opening lap. Not much of the field made it through. You see multiple drivers trying to make it back to pit lane under their own power. Jim Hubble, the debutante tonight, also involved. Santos, Rucker, Marcomini, Cook. It's a huge list of drivers involved in the opening lap accident here in Gateway. And it's brought to a sudden and painful halt, with over a dozen cars involved here on the opening lap in Gateway. Let's take a look here, and we're going to look from high above. We're going to look at the 71 of David Cook Jr. because his spin is what we believe is the one that triggers this reaction here. There he is. He's trying to rally to the outside of Edson Santos, and we'll slow it down. Quarter speed, ABN slow motion here. And no, it's Edson Santos drifting up the racetrack, getting into the 71. Really good job by Blue Jade avoiding the melee. Unfortunately, not everyone's going to be so fortunate. Edson Santos gets climbed over. You see William Rucker gets a piece. He gets completely clobbered. Everyone just trying to avoid the melee. Matthew Rivera gets on through. But a lot of trouble further on back as everyone just gets collected here. Matthias Marcomini going for an absolutely wild ride. Ends up upside down and pinned against the inside wall. One of the worst places to be. I'll take another look here at what happened on this restart. This is in full speed with Marcomini. So trouble from the opening lap here. And Marcomini climbs over the back of Jim Hubble. Rams off another car and goes into that kick flip. And lands and comes to a rest against the safer barrier on the inside wall. Lights out on the pace car, which means we're going green at the end of this lap. And it is a smorgasbord of problems. 18 on the lead lap of a 25. Now we're supposed to take the start. 2 did not take the start. David Cook Sr. and Tim Dells did not start this race. Left us 23 at the start. 5 a lap down at the moment. Marcomini 2 laps down back on the racetrack. Santos, Rucker, and Sharp and Hubble all coming out of pit lane 2 or 3 laps down at this particular point in time. Single file restart behind Rick Ravon. Blue Jays second, Nate Fields third, Nick Pressey fourth, Lance Anthony in fifth. We're back underway here in Gateway. Nate Fields immediately looking to the outside of Blue Jade out of turn 2. Looking for that second position, and it looks like Nate Fields gets that spot pretty easily here as Lance Anthony takes a look at the defending ABN World Champion for that fourth spot. And Anthony around the outside grabs the position while giving a light kiss to the outside wall out of turn 4. Everyone having to play it safe there out of turn 2. Everyone getting a little gun shy there. Lee Frazier having to tiptoe around some cars here. Now up in 17th, Marco Mini, the first car off the lead lap at the moment. There he is, the Argentine. Watching the 3 wide unfold in front of him. Best thing he can do right now is to stay first car 1 lap down. If a caution does come out, we expect there will be another one. Then he would get the free pass, provided he is not involved in that yellow. He's going to make a move around here. Everyone just, again, trying to take it easy. Car in the fence a little bit there. Again, everyone just trying to take it as easy as they can. That is Keel Aldridge that they were getting by in 74. At the front of the field, Rayvon looking pretty stout. And in front by a little over 0.6 of a second over Nate Fields and Lance Anthony, who's made his way up to 3rd. Blue Jade has dropped down to the 6th position behind DJ Trout, who is in 5th. Marlo Duncan battling with Josh Gaiman for the 7th position. Brian Edwards in 9th. Matthew Rivera currently rounding out your top 10, but it's a very crowded top 10. Battle there with Blowers, Viscali, and Gaiman. Sorry, I was talking about Josh Osborne in 7th place in that battle with Marlo Duncan. 2 Joshes. Got to look at the last name here. Josh Gaiman in that battle for the top 10, though, in the 61. Everyone getting very dangerously close to that fence. As Viscali drops into that battle for 13th place, trying to hold on there ahead of David Cook Jr., who was able to get the pit lane under his own power during the opening lap melee that came off his contact with Edson Santos. Everyone struggling a little bit early. Once you get into the running and get some green flag laps in, let the field spread out, it becomes a little bit more of a tire management game, as we are so accustomed to. That's what we're seeing right now. These drivers begin having to switch into that mode here from that restart. Viscali shutting the door on Brandon Statton. Lee Frazier, Casey Ellis also in that conversation, as is the lap car of Matias Marcomeni and Edson Santos. Something seems amiss there with Viscali's 72 machine. As Viscali drops all the way to the back of the field here. Viscali now in the 14th position. Trouble car in the fence. And that is Marcomeni in the fence. Matias Marcomeni, after flipping on lap 1, his day comes to an unfortunate end here on lap 13. The Argentinian in trouble early. It looks like contact with Josh Osborne. It looks like Osborne may have had issues before Marcomeni got to him. And then you see both cars on pit lane together now. Osborne, that car just up the road. Let's take a look at what happened here. Josh Osborne. This would have been definitely contact with somebody there. And Marcomeni coming in there late and making contact with the number 16 Honda. Who did he make contact with? Bobby Blowers, defending world champion, or defending kart champion. Looks like a little bit of latency there but also I'm going to lay a pretty safe claim here that there would have been contact no matter what with the angle that they were both trying to come into turns 1 and 2 in. And unfortunately for Osborne, his day takes a pretty wild hit. Marcomini's day is over. And a few cars coming down pit lane now in regard. Trout, Edwards, Viscali, and Sharp all down pit lane once again. On top of Osborne and Marcomini. And what that does is that gives, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like they have awarded the free pass to William Rucker, one of the few Bluegrass natives in the series. Puts him one lap down, so it did give him the free pass. I believe that Santos made contact with Osborne in turns 1 and 2 as he was coming to a stop. And so it gives William Rucker a lap advantage. If he can stay in this position where he's at right now, another caution would put him back on the lead lap and would give us 18 cars in that position once again. Viscali, last car on the lead lap, coming down pit lane to service that car to see if they can take care of the ailment that's plaguing that 72 machine. There's Viscali, who was hoping for a better night here in Gateway, hearing that there was contact with a wall at a turn 4 that may have caused some issues for the 72. And they're hoping that they could have solved that. Not a lot of time on pit lane there. It's not a terribly long stop. 9.32 seconds for Viscali was that most recent pit time, and you can see it here on your screen. 8.1 actually, which is a standard pit stop duration. When you're changing tires, if you were changing the front wing, if you were changing the rear wing, it would be an additional time. It'd be an additional 5 seconds for the front wing assembly and an additional 15 seconds for the rear wing assembly, because they also take care of the attenuator at the back of the car. Rick Ravon once again leads the restart here. The pole sitter has led every lap so far of this race that has been abbreviated by 2 cautions in the opening 15 laps. Lap 1 and lap 13. We approach lap 17 with a chance to do it again. Ravon, Fields, Anthony, Pressey, Jade, Duncan in the top 6. Green flag is back out and away we go. Clean Air is king at the front of the field for Rick Ravon. It's Nate Fields, though, in close command, looking for a chance to challenge for that race lead. Lance Anthony also within touching distance in third. The show is back on. Josh Kamen now in the top 10. We cited him earlier erroneously when it was supposed to be Josh Osborne. Osborne now out of this race. Josh Kamen now in the top 10, make that 8th place ahead of David Cook Jr. and Matthew Rivera. Gaiman now trying to chase down Marlo Duncan, as is David Cook Jr. right on board with the 71. As he tries to find a way around the 61, a veteran here at Gateway. Both drivers know this 1.25-mile racetrack pretty well. Peek to the inside for the 71 of David Cook Jr. Around the 61 of Josh Gaiman, and they'll be side by side down the front straightaway. And Gaiman uses the outside lane to get clear once again of David Cook Jr., but David Cook Jr. has got some speed in that 71 car. Qualified front row, got tagged by Edson Santos in lap 1 and has been trying to recover ever since. Nick Pressey's 4th car in line at the front of the field. It's a 4-car ensemble for the race lead here in Gateway. Ravon leads over Fields, over Lance Anthony, over Pressey. And then there's a gap between the ABN World Champion and the reigning kart champion. 5th and 6th. Sorry, no, 4th and 5th is where it was. Nick Pressey now up to 3rd around Lance Anthony. So Pressey now moving forward. Trying now to find his way around Nate Fields. Blue Jade in 6th under pressure from Josh Gaiman, Marlo Duncan, and David Cook Jr. Qualified this race in 4th. Blue Jade slipping backwards a little bit now in that 7th position. Trying to take it a little bit easier. Everyone else being a little more aggressive on the fresh tires here as we have a battle for the race lead. Nate Fields to the inside. Rayvon to the outside. Rayvon holds on to the race lead. Pressey tried to go for 2nd. Door was shut. Here comes Lance Anthony for 3rd once again. And Lance Anthony thinks 2 for 1 special sounds pretty good. Not clear down the front straightaway. They'll be side by side entering turn 1, where the outside lane's a little more favorable. And Anthony will have to slot back into 3rd place. A little bit of pressure early on. First time that I think Rick Rayvon's been pressured legitimately all race so far. Pressey looking for his way around. Washes out a little bit there out of turn 2, 3, and 4. And allows Bobby Blowers to get into this conversation and as that 5th wheel. The number 1 now in the conversation. So the 2 reigning champions, Pressey for ABN, Blowers for CART, 4th and 5th in this lead battle as we come around to complete lap 25 in St. Louis. Then you have a 1.3 second gap to Josh Gaiman in 6th, gotten clear of Blue Jade. As a bit of an arm's distance to Marlo Duncan. David Cook Jr. sitting in 8th. Frazier and Jade, teammates there for Wolfel Motorsports. 9th and 10th now for Frazier and Jade. Frazier, your biggest mover of the race so far, up 12 spots from 21st to 9th. Matthew Rivera just outside the top 10, pressuring Blue Jade for that position. Then it's Brandon Stadden also in the conversation. Then you have to look further back at Brian Edwards. Getting passed right now by Edson Santos, who is 2 laps down. DJ Trout in 14th. Mirabella Viscali in 15th. Keel Aldridge 16th. Casey Ellis 17th. William Rucker 1 lap down in 18th place. But he is in that mix at the moment. Lance Anthony's made his way up to the 2nd spot. Runners up spot for the 52. Lance Anthony trying to go for the race lead. Rayvon has still led every lap so far, 28 of them for car 7. Flowers battling with Pressey in Fields. Tried to get through in turns 1 and 2. No avail for the number 1. And caution is out, and it's Keel Aldridge out of turn 4 as the leaders come on through. Our 3rd caution of the night for Keel Aldridge, who had been ailing from earlier on in the race, was well off the pace in the 74. And we'll take a look as to why for Keel Aldridge out of turn 4 on their own. And it's just a simple spin here. Keeps out of the fence, it looks like. Someone tagged the fence there behind. I believe that may have been Casey Ellis. It was Casey Ellis. They tagged the fence trying to avoid the 74. And this is where we saw Keel Aldridge when we picked up on our cameras. Going a lap down and waiting for everyone to get on through before getting that car back rolling. So William Rucker will get the free pass. Laps in. We do have pit stops for the first time. It does give the race lead to Lance Anthony as Rick Rayvon comes down pit lane with the majority of the field. 6 cars stay out Anthony, Blowers, Frazier, Jade, Trout, and Edwards. Your top 6 staying out at the moment. A huge shout out to the partners of the Crown Athletics IndyCar Series, Crown Athletics, LA Designs, B. Smith Maintenance, Magnolia Laser, and others. AB Hobart Lawn Care and others, all involved in that. Appreciative of their support here for the Crown Athletics IndyCar Series. The 5th race of the season has been a wild one. 3 cautions and 31 laps here in Gateway. It is a feast or famine race. A lot of attrition typically takes place here in Gateway. And it is no difference here. Lights go out on the pace car once again as we get ready for a 3rd restart of the night for the first time without Rick Ravon at the front of the field. Ravon down in the 7th position. 16 cars on the lead lap here. Casey Ellis getting repair work done after tagging the fence, trying to avoid Keel Aldridge. Aldridge down pit lane. Ellis trying to get some repair work done, going a lap down. So 16 cars on the lead lap here tonight. Anthony, Blowers, Frazier, Jade, Trout, your top 5. Edwards, Ravon, Pressey, Fields, and Gaiman, your top 10 here in Gateway. It's the first 32 laps of when we get ready to go back racing. It is the Hoosier and the Minnesotan at the front of the field for this restart. Your defending kart champion in 2nd. Let's see what he's got at the front of the field. Pace car is in. The green flag flies, and we're back underway here in Gateway. Fresh tires for Ravon and everyone on back from there. And Ravon immediately trying to make his way around Jim Hubble, a lap down car. Hubble will get out of the way for the most part there, staying to the top side as everyone works their way around him. So Ravon still 7th, now having to try to catch up to Brian Edwards, who was sitting in that 6th spot, almost a second up the road, but on older tires for the 2. Side-by-side battle for the 4th spot. Blue Jay gets passed by DJ Trout for that 4th position. Frazier up to 3rd in this conversation for the race lead. Here comes the defending champion for kart. Over-undering to get through for the race lead, but here comes Lance Anthony on the way back. Anthony led the lap. Blowers led out of 2. Anthony trying to lead out of 3 and 4 to hold on to... Anthony leads the way. On the way back through turns 3 and 4. And he will take the lead right back for lap 37. The top 5 all close here. And keep in mind, Rick Ravon getting around Brian Edwards now. Will be in that conversation soon. Try to get back the race lead that he had prior to that pit stop under the 3rd caution of the night. Josh Gaiman battling with the defending ABN World Champion Nick Pressey. That is for the 8th and 9th position right now on the racetrack. Nate Fields in 10th. Also in that conversation. Pretty close battles there. David Cook Jr. also in that battle. That 4-way fight. 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Frazier in that fight in the 13 car. Sitting in 3rd, it is side-by-side, 2 rows deep at the front of the field. Anthony leads that lap, but Flowers to the inside, looking for a way through. So is DJ Trout, the Orlando's Outlaws team. Sitting 2nd and 4th at the moment. Here comes Frazier on the outside lane, trying to sweep around the outside of the defending kart champion. Can't quite do it in 3 and 4. Blowers gets a huge run out of 4. But it's not enough to take the lead away as they head into turns 1 and 2 again. 40 laps completed here in St. Louis. And again, nowhere for Frazier to go here in this battle at the front of the field. Blowers looking for the race lead. Anthony gave him a pretty wide berth, and that does give the race lead to Bobby Blowers. Blowers leads lap 41 and gets clear into turn 1. Rick Ravon is here. Now up to 5th around Jade. Everyone else on older tires. Rick Ravon on fresh tires. Trying to slice and dice his way through the field. Anthony on the outside. Trout to the bottom of the racetrack. Trout drifts up the racetrack. Forces Lance Anthony to check up. And Trout to second. Anthony has the momentum now to get to the bottom going into turns 3 and 4. But keep an eye on that 7 of Rick Ravon. Whoa, trouble! Trouble! Cars together! 3 cars, 4 cars! They stack up big time, and there's more. Huge crash at the front of the field. Brian Edwards involved, as is others. I believe that is potentially Matthew Rivera involved. Trouble out of turn 4. Trout got hooked off the nose of Lance Anthony. Both of them tagged the inside wall in that frantic fight for second. And it's turned into a fight for lap down places for a decent chunk of those involved. Remember, a decent chunk over 12 drivers of the 23 that started used their fast repair on the opening lap of this race. The affordability of being involved in another early accident before we even get to halfway for most of this field was slim to none. And so this one hurts. Let's take a look at what happened. This is out of turn 4. They were side by side behind Bobby Blowers, who had tried to pull away. DJ Trout trying to follow his teammate through. Lance Anthony on the inside lane, closest to the grass. DJ Trout on the outside lane here, closest to the wall. Rick Ravon gets through. He's the second car in line on the outside lane. And we're going to get a good look as to what happens here. Side by side they go. And Lance Anthony just drifts up just a little bit in the DJ Trout and hooks the 2 into the inside lane. And unfortunately, Trout comes right back up the racetrack and clips the 13 of Lily Frazier. Blue Jade nowhere to go as the cars begin sliding. Frazier gets hit by her teammate there. Pressy goes to the inside line, gets through. But not everyone is so fortunate here. And you're going to see as to why. It was Jim Hubble that clipped the 13 and then clobbered Blue Jade in the U3. Brian Edwards trying to get his way through. Contact there, I believe, between the 77 of William Rucker and the 19 of Matthew Rivera. Sees Rivera go into the 13, who had long been stationary at that point. So it was in real speed from the grandstands here on the front straightaway. Trout was able to get back to pit lane under his own power. Did not use a fast repair, though. Very importantly, did not use a fast repair. I wonder how that's going to work out for the 93. 15.7 seconds on pit lane for DJ Trout as they went to work on the front wing of that machine. I would not be surprised if there is residual damage still on the 93. They were trying to hold on and see what they could do. 16 cars on the lead lap. Kill Aldridge got the free pass out of all of that. Santos now the first car a lap down, 2 laps down to his credit. Louis Frazier, day done after 43 laps. Likewise, the same for Jim Hubble. Louis Sharp is still circulating in 20th on lap 43. As we get ready to go back racing, the pace car is in pit lane. Rick Ravon and Nick Pressey, your top 2. David Cook Jr. in 3rd. Nate Fields 4th. Brandon Statton in 5th. The green flag flies. We're back underway in St. Louis. And Pressey, the defending ABN World Champion, moves to the front of the field for the first time tonight. Pressey leads in St. Louis. He leads lap 48 here in Gateway, but here comes David Cook Jr. He wants a piece of the race lead. The front row starter got taken out on lap 1 along with 11 others. Following contact with Edson Santos. David Cook Jr. stayed on the lead lap and stayed persevering. Drops down to 4th, though, out of turn 2. Bounce of that car went away pretty quickly at the front of the field. Here comes Ravon against Nick Pressey here into turn 1. Pressey's led now 2 laps here in Gateway. Fields in 3rd. Cook in 4th. Statton 5th. Duncan 6th. William Rucker up to 7th after being 2 laps down earlier in this race. He is in the top 10 ahead of Josh Gaiman, Bobby Blowers, and Lance Anthony, your top 10. Pressey down to 3rd. Ravon, your pole sitter, back out in front. And here comes Nate Fields. 50 laps down, 80 laps to go. Side by side out of turn 2, but Ravon had the better line out of that turn and is now clear into turn 3. We'll still have a mirror full of 57 through 3 and 4. David Cook Jr., that 71 car, qualified this race 2nd. Sits currently in a good position right now in 3rd. Pressey under pressure from Brandon Statton. 51 car trying to move forward into the top 4. I would not be surprised if Statton could make that happen potentially. Still side by side out of turn 4. For that 4th position, Marlo Duncan with a good seat in the house there ahead of William Rucker and Josh Gaiman in 8th. Your defending champion in 9th for the kart series. Bobby Blowers in the top 10 ahead of Lance Anthony. Remember, Lance Anthony was not without damage on that last caution, the 4th of the night in that contact with DJ Trout. It is not surprising to see him struggling to hold pace with the race leaders at this particular point in time. Brian Edwards also got a piece of it. The number 2 sits 11th ahead of Blue Jade, who was able to keep going as well. Mirabella Viscali still struggling here at Gateway. Has only managed to get into a battle for the 11th position right now. Trout 14th, Rivera and Aldridge 15th and 16th. Your last cars on the lead lap at the front of the field. Nate Fields leads over Ravon, Cook, and Pressey. Car in the fence. Who was that? I believe that may have been... Trying to get a look at that. Looks like that might have been Blowers. Blowers still circulating, but I see a little bit of damage on the side pod there on the number 1. He's down in 8th now, behind Josh Gaiman. Nate Fields, Rick Ravon battling once again. Ravon on the outside of turns 1 and 2, grabs the race lead right back. Ravon out in front here in Gateway. Got a pretty good set of battles heating up here now. Blowers, Gaiman, and Rucker for 6th, 7th, and 8th. You got your top 5 on that conversation. Brandon Statton, the man in the middle. Nate Fields looking for the race lead, swoops down to turns 1 and 2 and gets clear. But Rick Ravon over-unders him on the exit of turn 2. Here comes David Cook Jr. and Nick Cressy, one of the best views in the house at the moment. Let's start on board with him on that 94 machine. On board with the Brooklyn native. Cressy in 4th. Watching the top 3 battle it out. Checks up a little bit. You heard him get out of the throttle. Sitting in a good position at the moment. Ravon and Cook at the front of the field, 1st and 2nd. Cook wanted a chance at the race lead, decided to try to line up a shot out of turn 2 instead, but it gives Ravon a really good run and a little bit of space. Here comes Brandon Statton, looks to the inside, that orange and black machine out of turns 3 and 4, looking for that 4th spot. He's going to have it, and he's clear. There's William Rucker in the conversation as well. Presley was trying to manage his stuff here, and he's been swamped for 2 positions down from 4th to 6th. Oh, trouble! Huge crash! Huge crash. Cars in defense. Rucker, Gaiman, Pressey. And our 5th caution is out. On lap 61, Gaiman could not make it back under his own power. Immediately back to pit lane for Josh Gaiman. Pressey and William Rucker involved. Rucker involved in lap 1 caution, had used his fast repair. Pressey still has his in the bank. He just has to get back to pit lane under his own power, and that is a painful looking 94 car all of a sudden. And let's take a look at what happened here. Rucker at the front. He's going to get loose out of turn 2. And he loses it right at the mid-corner. Pressey, not expecting it, runs to the back of him. Likewise, Josh Gaiman, not expecting either to be where they're at. Blowers makes the avoiding action there, so does Duncan. But it is trouble, bedlam, and melee out of turn 2 once again. For Gaiman, his race is over. For William Rucker, his race is practically over. And Nick Pressey will have to go to the back of the lead line, use that quick repair to get back out and running. You see him limping back to pit lane. Bobby Blowers stayed out with Lance Anthony, Brian Edwards, DJ Trout, and Blue Jade, your top 5. Attrition has been a very big part of this race, as it was the ABN Champ Car World Series last season when we were here at Gateway. Free pass to Edson Santos. He is now 1 lap down in 16th place. Still trying to recover from that lap 1 crash when he made contact with David Cook Jr. Nick Pressey on pit lane. Standard pit stop, using that quick repair to get back out. He will be 15th on the running. The retirement list getting a little bit longer. Josh Gaiman joins a growing retirement list with Willie Frazier, Jim Hubble, Casey Ellis, Josh Osborne, Matthias, and Marco Mini all out. Edson Santos and Lily Sharp still running at the moment. Gives us 17 cars running at this point in time. And at the 23 that started. 15 are on the lead lap. Edson Santos, first car, 1 lap down. Pelletier Sharp, 4 laps down as the last car running on the racetrack here. It is Blowers, Anthony, Edwards, Jade, Rivera, your top 5. Ascali up to 6th. Aldridge, and then Rick Ravon, your 8th place car, your pole sitter. The first of those out of pit lane on this caution, the 5th of the night on lap 64. Checking to see if there's any comments on the Patreon chat. There are not. And so we get ready to roll once again. Blowers, Anthony, Edwards, Jade, and Rivera, your top 5. Your defending kart champion leads the way as we get ready to go. Green flag is back out. Early restart there for Bobby Blowers. But we are racing once again here in Madison, Illinois. Cressy immediately around William Rucker, who, remember, did not have a quick repair remaining. Still dealing with damage from that caution. Rucker now hopes for more melee here in this race. Blowers leads over Anthony and Edwards. DJ Trout's had trouble and is now back on pit lane. And that is a technical issue. He's back out and running, but it raced out in the pit lane for a latency issue. And that's a painful one for DJ Trout, who was on the lead lap. It is now 14 cars on the lead lap, with Trout demoted to being a lap down here in Gateway. Blowers ahead of Anthony, Edwards, Jade, Rivera. Rayvon begins his climb forward, battling with David Cook Jr. and Nate Fields. Got around one, couldn't quite work around the other. Nate Fields stays in 7th. Rayvon in 8th. David Cook Jr. in 9th. As they continue to volley in battle here. Pretty even spacing near the front of the field, at least for your top 4. Nick Cressy trying to search forward, getting around Marlo Duncan for the 11th spot. Brandon Statton next up for Cressy, the defending ABN World Champion, trying to make his way back into the top 10. Top 5, all spaced out pretty evenly. Blowers, Anthony, Edwards, Jade, and Rivera. And then Mirabella Viscali sits 2 seconds adrift plus. Just struggling to make things work in that 72 car at the moment. A very frustrating race for Viscali. Not very often that Viscali misses the mark and has just not had it much of the race today. Rivera around Jade. That is for the 4th position as they battle side by side. Ryan Edwards in 3rd. Car in the fence for a moment was Lance Anthony, as he tries to get a run on Bobby Blowers. He does. Caution is out. And it's Duncan, who looks relatively safe. Looks like a spin for our 6th caution of the night, similar to Keel Aldridge earlier on in this race. It does give Santos the lead lap back here. And Marlo Duncan for Team Hypersport. Yep, just goes into a bit of a half spin there out of turn 4. Very similar to that of Keel Aldridge earlier on in this race, but Aldridge slides up the racetrack, giving the racing exits on the bottom of the racetrack to those around. And everyone able to largely take advantage of that. So our 6th caution, a half spin for Marlo Duncan. For Edson Santos, it's taken him 70 laps, but he will be back on the lead lap for the first time since lap 1. With less than 60 laps to go here in Gateway. Santos coming down pit. Well, should be in the wave run here. And there he goes. He's gotten the command now. So he will get around the field and rejoin the lead lap for the first time in 72 laps. The Brazilian driver, front and center. Qualified this race in third. He's going to split most of it well outside the top 15. 15th and on lead lap now. He's got a chance to fight once again. Next car a lap down. DJ Trout with that technical issue. Lost 2 laps. Louis Frazier 4 laps down. They would need a combined 6 cautions to get both of those cars back on the lead lap, and that does begin to feel like a little bit of a stretch with less than 60 to go and 17 cars total still running. It's running at the bottom of your screen, but you will see that we do have upcoming races coming up here. No Winstall Cup Series action this weekend. We'll be back again next weekend in Watkins Glen. Next Monday, we'll be back for HTL Cup Series action from Atlanta Motor Speedway. June 2nd, next Tuesday, will be the HTL Challenger Series from Las Vegas. And then next Thursday, the IndyCar Series will be running once again. It'll be their throwback event from Willow Springs International Raceway in Rosamond, California. First road course since the season opener back in April. I believe April 11th would have been when that took place. It's been oval since then, including tonight. Pace car's lights are off. It'll take the harsh left into pit lane out of turn 4. With your defending kart champion at the front of the field with another early getaway here. Green flag is back out and away we go. Trying to catch the field sleeping here. Flowers leads the way over Anthony Edwards, Jade, and Rivera. Viscali 6th, Rayvon in 7th. And Rayvon trying to find a way around Viscali. Those two have been the championship contenders, the front runners of this season so far, since Indianapolis. Here comes David Cook Jr. trying to battle around Nate Fields. No dice that time through turns 1 and 2. Coming to 54 laps to go. And Viscali does not hold up Rick Rayvon or Nate Fields with any seriousness there. Viscali, I think, very aware of the situation at this point for the 72 car. Bring the car home is the primary objective for Viscali. Flowers, Anthony Edwards, Jade Rivera, your top 5. Rayvon in 6th. Going to try to get back to the front of the field where he's been most of this race. Pressy behind Brandon Staton, battling for 10th at the moment. Everyone taking their time right now. Santos separated by Lily Sharp. And Santos will try to peek around into turns 3 and 4. Santos got around Keel Aldridge, but has only gained that one spot here on the lead lap. Trouble! Sharp in the fence! Sharp hard in the fence in turns 1 and 2. And that will end Sharp's day. Can she get it back without drawing a caution? This will be day done for the 17 as the leaders come on through. Single file as they manage to get around this lap car that is now terminally damaged. Sharp made contact there with Edson Santos. Second time Santos has made contact with a car tonight. And it's race ending for Sharp in a pretty big way. Rivera side by side with Blue Jade, and now Rick Ravon as he shoots the outside lane. Rivera loses top 5, loses top 6. Down to 7th goes the 19. Jade in 4th ahead of Ravon. Ravon peeks to the inside through turns 1 and 2 this time. And the top 3, no. Now Ravon is on his way. Ravon's still trying to get around Blue Jade here. Progress has stalled just a little bit. Santos has gotten around William Rucker, now up to 13th place, but separated by 4 seconds to Marlo Duncan. A little bit of work to do. .45 laps to go here in Gateway. The defending kart champion, Bobby Blowers, under pressure from Lance Anthony, entering turns 3 and 4 here. Car entering, looks like potentially the pit lane there. I believe that might have been Keel Aldridge. It is. Keel Aldridge, the 74, down pit lane now, getting out of the way. Look at this smorgasbord of cars involved here. Brian Edwards in the 2, battling with Blue Jade. Ooh, it's getting really close and dicey here in this battle for the podium places. Jade battling with Edwards, Cook, and Ravon. As Anthony and Blowers battle it out for the race lead. Really good racing here. Blowers at the front of the field once again. Lance Anthony peeks to the inside. Once again this time, Aldridge comes back out of pit lane. Standard service for Aldridge. This might be final stop of the night for Aldridge here. Was not a contender for the race win, but could maybe pick up some spots here if things go correctly. But he'll need everyone else to come down pit lane under green for that to happen. A caution would pin him a lap down. You've got 8 cars all together in this group right now, battling for the race lead in the podium places. Trouble, car spun, Aldridge. And caution is out. Cold tires for Keel Aldridge. He had just come out of pit lane. A self-spin on cold tires here for Keel Aldridge. And it happens early into the corner. His second self-spin of the night. And he'll be looking to put this race behind him in a pretty big way, I think. It helps out DJ Trout. He gets one of his 2 laps back here. As it looks like most of the field will come down pit lane this time. Any concerns about needing the pit under green, those concerns are now gone. Everyone will be able to make it from here to get to the last 40 laps of this race completed. Anthony, Blowers, Ravon, Jade, and Cook make it out of pit lane. Our 7th caution of the night. It's Anthony, Bobby Blowers, Rick Ravon, Blue Jade, and David Cook Jr. coming to 39 laps to go. That is your top 5 ahead of Brian Edwards, Edson Santos, Matthew Rivera, Nate Fields, and Nick Pressey, your top 10. $15 cars running out of 23 that started this race. Attrition has been a massive factor here in Gateway. Coming to 39 laps to go. And Lance Anthony goes now. We're back underway. Flowers looks for the race lead on this restart, and he's got it. Out in front is the number 1, but here comes number 7, Rick Ravon. Trouble, huge crash behind. Huge crash behind. Oh, my goodness. And we don't have much of a field left here. Debris on pit lane. Duncan, Santos, Rucker, and others. Cook, Fields, Staton, who's center of your screen. Pressey involved. And they're all serious crashes here. Over half a dozen. 6 had to tow immediately. Duncan, Santos, Rucker, Cook, Pressey, and Edwards. Their days are done. And here's what happened. Is it with David Cook Jr. in Blue Jade? Jade gets through this. David Cook Jr. just gets loose. And Santos ramps right over him. Goes airborne. Brian Edwards nowhere he can go. Huge contact. That is Nate Fields. Not Nate Fields, excuse me. Nick Pressey gets a huge piece of it. Staton, I think, may have avoided most of the melee here, spinning in avoidance. Didn't get a great look as to who that was. It was Nate Fields that did go for a wild ride. We did have that pointed out correctly. And just about everyone involved in this crash, minus Brandon Staton, had to tow to pit lane. Seven cars involved. Staton's the only survivor. And that's because he didn't make contact in the car spinning. He spun himself trying to thread the needle and avoided all the drama. Undoubtedly day done for Santos, for Rucker, for Cook, for Pressey, and Edwards. Whether or not it is day done for Marlo Duncan remains to be seen. but we have a very trimmed outfield. Nate Fields is back running. Somehow avoided going a lap down here in this melee. He is the last car on the lead lap. Marlo Duncan waiting to see. Marlo Duncan is back out on the racetrack, so Duncan's race still ongoing. And that's important because Duncan's 9th right now. Duncan is 9th place with less than 40 to go. Coming to 35 to go for this restart, we have 9 cars on the lead lap. David Cook Jr., his day is done. Nick Cressy, day done. Brian Edwards, day done. DJ Trout, day done. Edson Santos, day done. William Rucker, day done. 9 cars remain for 35 laps in our 8th caution of the night. Flabbergasted is an understatement. Green flag is back out. Flowers leads over Rayvon, Anthony, Jade, Rivera, Staton, Viscali in Fields. All your lead lap cars right there. Duncan in 9th. Fast repair in use for the 12. Sits a lap down. Oh, trouble! Trouble! Who was that? Car in the fence. It's Keel Aldridge again. His 3rd self-spin, and he is done. Tried to come back to pick up spots, but instead just spins out and crashes a 3rd time. And that will be day done for Keel Aldridge. Our 9th caution puts Marlo Duncan back on the lead lap. Looks like contact there with Brandon Staton, though. So we need to go back and take a look at this. 100%. Keel Aldridge shouldn't have been on the racetrack to begin with. Running unhealthily off pace. A huge amount of latency there for Brandon Staton. And then Aldridge spins out himself. I think one of the more embarrassing drives of the night. And I think that says all it needs to say with only 9 cars running on this racetrack at the moment. Getting ready to go back racing here. We have 8 cars on the lead lap once again. Brandon Staton on pit lane, receiving repairs that are getting damaged following latency contact with Keel Aldridge. Keel Aldridge still on pit lane. Arguably should not come back on the racetrack at this point. Shouldn't have come back on the racetrack before. So 8 cars on lead lap from Blowers to Duncan. We're going green with 30 laps to go. It is Blowers, Rayvon, Anthony, Jade, Rivera, Viscali, Fields, and Duncan, your survivors at the moment. And we say survivors. Right now, there's no such thing as best. There is least terrible to aim for at the moment. Green flag is back out. Blowers leads the way. The defending kart champion brings us back to green for the 9th time. Your 8 leaders still rolling. Rayvon and Blowers still battling trouble. Woo! Buddy! Almost watched Blowers take out Rayvon. It checked up the leaders, and here comes Lance Anthony. Wow! And they're 3 wide for the race lead. Oh, this is going to be bad. Oh, hip check. Rayvon and Blowers. Anthony trying to grab the race lead. Jade up to 3rd. Viscali's had a suffering night, but there might be a payoff to it. Just keep the car on the island. Duncan immediately let out of the throttle and said, let me hang back for a second. One of the most sensible decisions you could make tonight. Getting a lot more intense in this pack as this race enters its final stanza. Rayvon knows that he has got to try to figure out a way to avoid the pressure. Blowers battling with Jade. Lance Anthony now playing the slipstream chain. Running his own race at the moment. Shuts the door on Blowers through turns 1 and 2. Now Anthony plays the slipstream game. Now it is clear of both Jade and Blowers for 2nd. Nate Fields in that battle for 4th. Side by side with Blowers, the defending champion. Jade takes part in the slipstream games down the front straightaway. Everyone's struggling a little bit. Three wide through 3 and 4 again. Blowers is the one getting completely mugged for positions at the moment. Blue Jade wants a chance for 2nd place, battling to the inside of Anthony. Car in the fence, car in the fence. Nate Fields. Fields in the fence, Fields in the fence. Still rolling down the 8th. Jade still battling with Lance Anthony, but it feels more and more like a battle for 2nd. Rayvon has now got a 2nd advantage. He has turned up the jets and he is gone. Rayvon looking for 4 wins in a row. Viscali battling Rivera for the top 5. And through we go. Rayvon, Anthony, Jade. Jade battling with Blowers for that 3rd spot, that last step on the podium. coming to 20 laps to go. Three-way battle for second. Blowers thinks he might have a chance at Rick Ravon, but he's got to get clear of Lance Anthony right now, and he can't. Quite the opposite. Lance Anthony stays clear of Blowers at a turn 2. And it is trouble from the word go. And this battle for second that now is really encapsulating 6 cars, all the way down to Duncan in 7th. And the more that they battle, the slower they are. Car on the fence, that's Duncan. Laps beginning to eat away here. Blowers drops down, battling to try to stay top 5 now. Rivera and Viscali all around him. Jade wants a chance for second, gets clear for second. Jade to second, Rivera in 4th. Ravon is checked out. Car in the fence, Anthony. Rivera to 3rd. Battling for second and 3 and 4. Coming to 16 laps to go. Latency for Rivera. 16 to go. This race is far from over. A caution would pull everyone back into this. And we do not have many cars left to go. Nate Fields hoping for a caution. And he just might get it. Jade turns off the nose of Blowers. Jade involved. Your defending champion Blowers involved. And there's the 10th caution of the night. And Jade cannot roll the pit lane under her own power. And Blowers destroyed as well. And the gap is gone between Ravon and the rest of the field. But that's likewise at least one more car out of the race, if not 2. We've gone from 8 lead lap cars to 6. Multiple cars down pit lane here. Our 10th yellow of the night. Let's take a look as to why. Everyone fighting super tight. Flowers just gets right into the back of Blue Jade, who loses it predictably at that point. Not a whole lot either of them can do. Viscali gets a huge piece of it, clips the back of Blowers' machine. And it's rough. Blowers got a huge piece of it. Viscali, I don't know if it was latency or not. Viscali's still rolling at this point. Came down pit lane, but I'm not sure if Viscali was actually involved in that or not in a meaningful way. For Blowers, definitely was. But whether or not Viscali got any damage is something that remains to be seen. Not a lot of cars left in this one. Blowers still on pit lane. His day effectively over. the silver lining is that he's got a top 10 in hand here. He's got 7th. Blue Jays race is over. Will only drop to 8th. And we have 6 cars on the lead lap. Of those, maybe 4 are healthy. Green flag is back out. Away we go. Twelve laps to go. A battle for first, a battle for third, a battle for fifth is what we're looking at the moment. $11 to go. And Matthew Rivera, race of his life right now against a driver who has won the 3 races in a row. Indianapolis, Milwaukee, and Texas, trying to go 4 in a row. Can he do it? Rick Ravon knows that Rivera's in his mirror. How aggressive will Rivera be? Duncan up to 3rd, ahead of Lance Anthony. Nine to go. Ravon, Rivera, Duncan, Anthony, Biscali, and Fields. The 6 cars in the running. Settling in just a little bit. Ravon seems a little bit more clear-headed here. Not having to deal with too many opposition cars behind him. Rivera and Duncan have both dispatched Lance Anthony. Anthony well and truly out of the battle for the podium as it sits, coming to 7 laps to go. Coming to 6 to go. Ravon, Rivera, and Duncan. Again, how aggressive do you be if you're in the top 3 right now? Rivera is getting right to the gearbox of Rick Ravon, but Ravon's so much better in 1 and 2 especially. Big night and day difference. But Rivera has that slipstream from turn 2 all the way around the racetrack here. Ravon knows the power of that slipstream right now. What I would be doing if I was Rivera, I'd be running a little bit higher at the racetrack. Run a little bit higher in 3 and 4. Or in 1 and 2, excuse me. Run a little bit higher. Get some more momentum here. What you want to do is you want to have as much speed out of turn 2 as possible. You do that by running higher. If you think you can. It also gets you out of the dirty air. Ravon's running middle of the racetrack in 1 and 2. Run a little bit higher. You don't want to run lower. Run a little bit higher. Kind of like that. But you want to stay high. You want to stay sort of up there in the outer lane a little bit. And you want to swoop down at a turn 2. Treat it almost like Indianapolis. Run it out to the wall and then come back down. Three laps to go. A little bit of latency there for Rivera. realistically, there's not a whole lot Rick Ravon needs to do to just hold on to the race lead here. If Rivera's not going to be aggressive enough to go for the race lead here in these last 2 laps, he doesn't have to do a whole lot. Rivera's he's not showing the tenacity to go for a move in turn 1 and 2. You know you're better than everybody in 1 and 2, so let it go. This is Rivera's best chance, closest he's been. White flag is in the air, 1 lap to go in St. Louis. And Rivera still couldn't do anything. Out of 2 for the final time, down the back straightaway. It's going to be 4 in a row for Rick Ravon, but it's going to be career best finishes for Matthew Rivera and Marlo Duncan, who complete the podium. Rick Ravon conquers Gateway. Mirabella Viscali finishes 4th ahead of Lance Anthony. Nate Field rounds out your top 6. And those are your finishers. Rick Ravon, your race winner. You hear from your podium finishers here in just a moment. What a wacky race. Parks it there in victory on the start-finish line, I should say. What a wild, wild, wild race. Rick Ravon, your race winner for the 4th time this season. We'll talk to the driver of the number 12. This is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy. A wild race, to say the least, here in Gateway. Walk us through it on your perspective. Only 6 finishes at the end. A great finish for you, but that was difficult.
It was definitely difficult. A little bit more heightened for myself because my headphones died on lap 22, so I had no sound at all from lap 22 to the end of the race. And it was a lot of a survival race. It was, if you could be there at the end, you're probably going to get top 5.
Obviously, it works out here. Gateway being as difficult as it was, very few drivers got away without any issues here. That 12 car had a couple of minor issues. All things be told, across 130 laps, being able to finish 3rd is a pretty big deal here. This 3rd place does a decent amount. Drop rounds now in effect here, going to shuffle up the points in a pretty massive way. What does the 3rd place finish do for you going into Willow Springs next weekend?
It's definitely a great momentum swing after having some pretty unfortunate incidents at Texas that probably cost me a better result. But I'm definitely feeling good about going into Willow Springs just because I'm better at the road courses than I am at the ovals. So I'll be running up front there again next week.
Before we let you go and let you enjoy your weekend and obviously get ready for the race in Willow Springs, the throwback event there in California next Thursday, if there's anyone want to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. A great job tonight. Car 12, P3 here at the finish.
I definitely want to thank my teammate, Mira, for kind of just being there for emotional support when I had to jump over to my phone during a caution so that I could at least still have some form of team communications. Definitely want to thank my parents for letting me do this silly thing for fun. And that's about it.
a phenomenal job here in Gateway. Congratulations on the P3, and we'll see you again in Willow Springs.
Thank you. See you next week.
And we move right on along to Matthew Rivera, second place finisher here in Gateway. Survival was the name of the game. Matthew, walk us through it. That was a wild one.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So starting P15 deep in the pack, my qualifying run was completely trash. And after the first wreck, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a survival race. So I just tried to stay back, save fuel, save tires, and yeah, tried to be there for the end.
And that was the name of the game here. Put yourself in a position and let the dominoes fall as they would. Everyone had issues in some way, shape, or form, including the 19 car. We saw issues earlier near the midway point of the race, got involved in a couple of incidents there, was able to get that car going and keep that car running here tonight. A second place, career best finish for you so far in the IndyCar series. What does this do for you as far as just how your season has gone so far?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously it's a confidence booster coming in as a rookie and a new guy. I didn't know how quick I was going to be. And to see that even if you don't have the pace for the day, if you're just smart, keep your nose clean, you can be there in the end. So I was really pushing on these last few laps, but Rick did a fantastic job to block me. And yeah, P2 is what we finished with.
It works out for you pretty well here in Gateway, surviving, keeping that car in the running, and getting a career best finish as a result. Getting into Willow Springs, what's the feeling going into that race? Not a track we go to very often.
Yeah, it's a very unique racetrack. I'm definitely going to have to put in a lot of practice hours, but we'll see. It's very fun, very flowy if you get it right, and hopefully my road course performance can match tonight's.
Going to be a huge ask here going into California next Thursday. Before we let you go and let you enjoy the podium, Matthew, does anyone want to shout and say thank you to? The floor is yours. Congrats on the recovery tonight. P2, career best finish for the 19 camp.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Lance for allowing me to run and creating the most beautiful paint scheme I've ever seen. So thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Phenomenal job from Matthew Rivera. We'll see him again in California for Willow Springs next Thursday. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And we move on to a driver that has now won 4 races consecutively, from Indianapolis to Milwaukee, Texas, and now Gateway. Chaos throughout this entire race tonight. 10 cautions, only 6 finishers at the end. It was survival of the fittest, and Rick Ravon, survival of the fastest. Once again, Rick, walk us through sort of just surviving the melee, because you had to survive a couple of those accidents. It wasn't completely clear sailing at the front of the field. But 4 wins in a row. That's domination.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know what to say. We're having a nice run here, and I mean, this was a great race. I really don't even know what to say. I mean, I'm just like in shock. 4 in a row in a league with this sort of stature, with the quality of the field out there, is I never expected it. I just hope it continues.
It seems pretty good at the moment. Obviously, 4 race wins. They're all on ovals here. You weren't there for the Brickyard Grand Prix back on April 11th. Your first road course race comes up here next Thursday at Willow Springs, a racetrack that everyone's having to learn pretty much here. But walk us through this race for you. Obviously, drop rounds, the Brickyard Grand Prix that you missed early in the season, no longer counts, no longer means really anything at the moment. You talk about just sort of not really expecting to be at this point here. How do you keep it going? Because everyone knows now what you can do. Obviously, a lot of drivers, if you've been in IndyCar League, you know who Rick is, you know how good he is here on the ovals. How do you replicate this on the road course, where it seems like it is going to be a little more competitive, but it also is a little bit more of a great unknown here, a chance of weather potentially, a lot more variables in play there. How do you keep this going into that first road course?
I don't know if we can. I know that, David Cook is he's an alien, so he's probably got Willow Springs locked up. It's really a race for second, but just hoping to get a podium out there and just keep this momentum going. Willow Springs will probably break the streak right there because of Cook. He is an alien. I've raced with him for a few years, and I know him pretty well. And he's going to be almost impossible to beat. So we're just looking for a good finish over there and just keep the momentum going.
Getting through Willow Springs, it swings back into the favor of the 7 camp here. Iowa Super Speedway, going to be a wild race June 11th. Iowa doubleheader. We've seen you win at Iowa before over in the Sidewinder IndyCar Series. Pocono, the end out the month of June. Some pretty big ovals coming up here next month. Is the feeling, you talk about getting through Willow Springs, just keep momentum going. With momentum going through Willow Springs, do those races look like races? If for some reason the streak does end at Willow Springs, does the streak pick back up when we get back to the ovals?
Oh, I don't know. Nothing's written in stone, but I would like for it to continue. But, again, I didn't expect to get, 2 or 3 in a row, let alone 4. But, you never know. The field it's a quality field. And we're just going to do the best we can. And, hopefully we'll be contenders for the championship by the end of this thing.
I would not bet against the 7 car here. Lucky number 7 has worked out pretty well since you started the season at the Indianapolis 500. Even with Willow Springs coming up, I wouldn't bet against you in the slightest. That being said, 4 in a row, it was a very testing race tonight for most of the field. Before we let you go, let you celebrate and let you enjoy a wonderful weekend coming up. If there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, Rick, the floor is yours. Congrats on 4 wins in a row here in the CART IndyCar Series.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks to you, Carmen, of course, ABN Studios. Thanks to Lance Anthony, just such a class act. Love that guy. He puts on a great show here. He's got a great league. All the drivers in the field, everybody out there who races hard and clean. And FMW, that's FMW. What else can I say? My wife, I love her with all my heart, soul, mind, and breath. My 2 kids, Mila, Zoe, love you guys. Oh, I want to congratulate Matthew Rivera, by the way. He did a fantastic job. Andy Duncan up there on the podium. That was some pressure, by the way, the last few laps. He was just there. I was waiting for him to make the move, and I was just trying to break the draft. But Matthew was, he was right there, and he was all over me like a wet blanket. But last but not least, I want to thank the Lord Jesus for dying on the cross for me. Thank you to my Creator up in heaven. I love him. He's number 1 in my life. And I guess that's about it. We'll see you next week. What is it, Iowa?
Willow Springs next Thursday, and then Iowa doubleheader after that. So we got some pretty fun races coming up here.
Yeah, it'll be the first road course that I run with these guys. And say goodbye to David Cook because he'll be long gone. And it'll be a fun race for second.
We'll see how that pans out in California next Thursday. Rick, congratulations on 4 in a row. Congratulations. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week, and I'm sure.
Well, thank you very much. I got to work on Saturday, so it's not so much fun, but need the money, so that's a good thing. We'll see you next week. By the way, I hate when we have a week off because I love this series. So glad we'll be racing next week. Thank you very much.
A fantastic job, Rick Ravon. 4 in a row for the 7 car camp as he looks to go and continue the momentum in Willow Springs. Congratulations.
Thank you, my friend. God bless you, and you're in my prayers still.
That's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, Rick.
Thank you.
That was Rick Ravon, your race winner here tonight. And here's a full rundown of your finishing results here from Gateway. Rick Ravon, Matthew Rivera, Marlo Duncan, your top 3, your podium finishers. We heard from all 3 of them here tonight. Mirabella Viscali finishing in 4th, ahead of Lance Anthony, who finishes top 5. Nate Fields, your last car, running in 6th. It was, as someone put it, a minefield tonight. 10 cautions, a bunch of retirements. It begins with Bobby Blowers in 7th, Blue Jade in 8th, Brandon Statton, Nick Pressey, Brian Edwards, and David Cook Jr. And the retirement list is expansive tonight, one of the longest we've seen here. Edson Santos, William Rucker, DJ Trout, Keel Aldridge, Alyssa Pelletier Sharp, Josh Gaiman, Lily Frazier, Jim Hubble, your debutant tonight in the 89 car, finishes 20th ahead of Casey Ellis, Josh Osborne, Matthias Marcamini, the last car that took the green flag here. Tim Dells did not start, and neither did your 25th place classified driver, David Cook Sr. did not start either. We'll be live again on Monday for the HTL Cup Series from Atlanta Motor Speedway. We can't wait for you to join us then as we kick off the month of June. On behalf of everyone here for CART, all of its partners, everyone here at ABN Studios, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank you for joining us tonight on YouTube and on Patreon. We'll see you again on Monday. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy. And have fun out there this weekend. So long, everybody.